Well, much like you've got to drink castor oil. I don't know when you do that anymore, but there's like bad things you have to do sometimes that are good for you. That's one of these again. We're getting because when you're getting under the covers with Pagan, it sounds bad, but it's actually good. So that's what we got going on. We're back for another under the covers with Pagan. I think Mike Bilinski, the czar, uber overlord of Pagan, will be visiting with us on all things cover. And on this cover, shockingly enough, a song I was not particularly familiar with, Mista Mista by the Fugees. Um, so it's pretty interesting. So we will include a link. You'll be able to kind of check that out in the visualizer for it. It's out there. Be sure and do that. But we're about to take a deep breath, take your shot of penicillin, and get under the covers with Pagan. So we'll get started. So Mike, you've had a very eclectic group of songs so far. This fits the bill. Continuing that, um, why'd you pick it?
So this was a long answer. So when I was a kid, this ties into
Wow.
an
Now wait a
important
sec.
lesson.
How many years are we gonna? Go
It's gonna
ahead.
be a long one, folks.
Yeah, it's good.
Back in the day.
Mom
So
and
when I
Dad
was a
were
kid,
drinking. So don't go back that
uh,
far.
I this is a part of me learning an important lesson about brand loyalty. Um, I learned about brands from a record label called Rough House Records. I knew record labels exist, like I knew companies put out music, but you would always see, Sony, Universal. Universal's great, by the way, but Sony, Universal, all these, huge corporations. You would see their names on everything, so it didn't really mean anything to me. They were just
K-Tel.
companies that put things out. Yeah, that
Some big
put
ones.
things out. And then I noticed a few different albums that I liked came out from a company called Rough House Records, which at the time I didn't realize was actually based in Philadelphia. But they'd put out a few albums I liked. So I actually started actively seeking out like looking at the backs of records to see what Rough House Records had put out and buying that stuff. And that's how I came across the Fugees. Um, Back in the day, kids, to entice people to buy CDs when they were the new thing. CDs would oftentimes have bonus tracks on them that you couldn't get on the cassette or vinyl. So vinyl, if it's mastered properly, cannot hold anywhere near as much of the as a CD. It's about 40 minutes for a decent mastered vinyl, and that's split between two sides. So you're not even getting the full 40 minutes because you can't split it. You're not going to split a song in half kind of thing. Like they did do that on 8 tracks,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
but you're not going to split a song on half on a vinyl. So you were kind of limited on that. Cassettes could actually hold a lot more, but they were trying to move people away from cassettes and towards CDs. So one of the things they would do is there would be usually like a bonus track on CDs in the 90s to entice you to buy the CD to move away from other formats. Rough House Records were big proponents of this, but it was pretty commonplace at that time. So the Fugees' second album, which is the one that exploded them into kind of mainstream, it's kind of crazy to think about because the album was so huge and the members are all kind of infamous on their own of the group now. Lauryn Hill became a big celebrity for a while. Uh, the main leader of the group, Wyclef Jean, ran for president of Haiti. And the other member of the group is actually facing 20 years in prison for treason right now. So, you know, it's
Those
it's been a weird history for them.
Yeah, those kind of problems seem to go away these days, so he should be fine.
Yeah, he'll be all right. So it's been a weird history for that band, but I'm a big fan of Rough House Records. So one of the for their first CD didn't sell very well. So for the second CD, not knowing if it was going to sell, they put multiple bonus tracks on it to really entice people to pick it up. So Mr. Mister was one of them. It's actually a Wyclef Jean solo song. It's just him singing and playing acoustic guitar. I actually have a copy of it here just to show how what a real fan I am. It's on vinyl. It's a translucent orange 45 of it. So
Nice.
there you go. To show what a big fan I am. And also too, just as a fun, if you really want to deep dive into this with me, the Rough House Records team was here in my studio, and we recorded a 4 hour conversation with them, going over the whole history of the record label, talking about the Fugees, talking about this album. I joked that I was going to cover this song when we did that, and that came out as a multi-part Brutal Dudes episode. So that that's I told them I was going to do it. So when I was a kid, this song stuck out. I think mostly at the time because, and I'll keep it clean for this, the F bomb is dropped many times in the original version of this song. This covers an instrumental version of it. But then, as you know, terrible people in your life and the themes start to become more relevant, I think for most people in most families at this point. So it just worked on multiple levels going into this project. When I decided to do a cover, it was like, oh, obviously I'm going to do Mr. Mister. Plus, I literally told them I was going to cover it. So now I'm following through with what I told them I was going to do.
Yeah, and it so it's not a Up with People. I don't think this was in the Up with People rotation. I don't think when they were going around they did that. It's a pretty bleak, grim
Yeah,
song. And so this is an instrumental version of it. And so I think credit goes to uh, the composer, in terms of how it's written, but also your execution. That even without the words, I felt bleak in there. So there was, it conveys it well. So it was a bleak soundscape. So that part was good. Fairly faithful, very different instrumentation. We'll get into that a little bit more in a sec, but it was really well done, I thought. So it's definitely worth a listen. You folks need to check out the link that's included in the description here, and also be the link at the end of the video too, for you to just jump to directly. So we have a returning artist, Wassim Rahmani rather. Um, any additional details? Talked a little bit about him before. Anything else to add? He's kind of a slacker on this one. He played one instrument, and the other participant played like a lot more. We'll get into that in a second, but for his one instrument, he did a very good job with it. So,
he did. Yeah, he killed it. As far as I know, he was not at all familiar with this song.
oh, really?
So this was something I just kind of threw at him. And again, it was a bonus track originally. This album was really huge. So what ended up happening for people who aren't familiar, Rough House was becoming a really popular label. They had Cypress Hill. They had put out a bunch of like underground metal albums, and some really cool rap stuff, including they're the label that broke Crisscross, which was the teenage rap group. Again, we talked about all this in our 4 hour conversation that we did. Um, but they did a lot of really cool stuff and a lot of stuff in this city that I live in and everything. So um, they did a lot of really cool things, but that first Fugees record did not sell at all. In fact, I think at the time when this second album came out, it had only sold, I want to say they said less than 10,000 copies at this point. But what happened in between that was the Sister Act movie came out, and Lauryn Hill, who was a rapper in the Fugees, was cast in the Sister Act movie. And that became a huge hit. So all of a sudden, everybody knew who she was and knew who the group was. So even though their album didn't sell, radio stations were kind of interested in putting this on. So I I think that this became a huge hit, not because the music wasn't good, but because there was just suddenly a lot of attention put on this group that nobody cared about the day before that movie came out, if that makes sense. So I think it's one of those things where a lot of people know about them pop culture wise, but probably don't know their catalog beyond the couple of hit songs. So I think when I threw this one at him, like he knew who the Fugees were and at least knew who Lauryn Hill was, but I don't think he, as far as I remember, was not at all familiar with this song. But he got it down really quickly, and he got, like you said, it's really all about the tone of the song. It's very bleak, it's very moody, and he got that right away.
Yep, 100%. And so the other individual featured on this is our guest this evening, Mike. And so a couple of the instruments, the bass and the theremin, we've discussed before. I'm familiar. Not as familiar with the Aztec death whistle or singing bowl. Um, so for the, I mean, for me and maybe the one other viewer out there that doesn't know much about these instruments, and I'm just a musical Luddite, tell me a little bit about each.
So, Aztec Death Whistle, I brought a prop,
Shocker. That's a shocker.
is this. So they're typically shaped like a skull or some sort of a face. And when you play it, it's meant to mimic a scream or a death rattle of a person or an animal. So, and it seemed I got this. I love these. I got this, and I'd been looking for an excuse to fit this into something. And this, again, going back to the tone of the song, seemed like the perfect song to throw this into. So it was fun to get to put this to use in something for the first time. So that was cool. So a singing bowl, most people call them Tibetan singing bowls, which is actually not accurate. They're not Tibetan. So some people get mad when you say that. But think of like when you see like yoga instructors and hippies and stuff when they hit those bowls that sound like bells with things. That's what that is. That's an actual instrument that stupid people are just hitting with something because they don't know how to play it. So it that annoys me, especially because it is a cool, weird instrument. So what you're supposed to do is you go around the outside of the bowl at different speeds, and it's made out of soft metal. So the bowl actually starts to reverberate and the metal starts to bend. And it creates all these really cool tones and things like that. So I think they're really cool. But again, it was something where it was like, I need to fit this into a song at some point just so I can stop showing it to people and then be like, oh, I didn't know you could make music with that. I just thought really high people stretching would smack that with something.
Yeah, so for our yoga instructor viewers and for our hippie
Sorry.
viewers, and most importantly for our hippie yoga instructor viewers, um, you're not the stupid people Mike was talking about. They're other
Not
people,
you guys.
not
The
you,
other ones. Yeah.
other people. Damn hippies. But yeah, so yeah, super cool. So how many boxes of Cracker Jack did you have to eat to get the death whistle? 'Cause
The death whistle was a gift. And I had actually been eyeing one for a while. So it really worked out because eventually I was just gonna buy one myself. So it was a really cool gift. I love it. This is actually really, I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty solid and heavy. I don't know if that comes across in the video, but it's really cool. Bill, who's also in the Rust Belt with me, has one as well. He used it in a song with his band at a race on something, but I think he like reversed it. So it doesn't sound like a scream, it just sounds like kind of a screeching effect in the background. I wanted it to sound like a scream in the song, give you the full effect of the death whistle.
I just have this vision of you and Bill skipping down the streets of Philadelphia with your death whistles, playing it uh, to the Carrie Nelson "Best Friend" song. So something like that would be nice, but something to hear about. So I have a hunch I know what the answer to this is, but what was your favorite part of making this cover?
Death whistle.
Yeah, thought so.
Yeah,
Kind of figured.
100% death whistle.
Of course, there's another type of thing. So usually I like to kind of wrap this up by exploring, giving Mike a chance to justify his incredibly poor decision making on not involving me on any of these covers. But I have found all of his answers so far so unconvincing and so well pathetic that I'm not even going to entertain it beyond just I think we can just admit it was a mistake and move on from there. But this is a really cool song, despite the fact I wasn't involved. And you should absolutely check it out. As I mentioned, there's a link in the description. And at the end of this video, uh, check it out. We've got a number of these done already. So you can kind of hear a number of covers already. A few more coming. So it's been pretty exciting to do it. We do them once a month. And anything you'd like to kind of wrap up and tell the folks about this?
No, no, I think that's it. I'm not going to give anything away, but it's probably not the only cover that's coming from the Rough House catalog.
Very good. Something for us all to look forward to outside of the best friend cover that I've just pitched to Mike, and I think that'll be awesome too. So, uh, thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.